Hello everyone, Alec Elger, the SideQuest Gamer, and welcome to part 2 of my Donkey Kong 8-bit retrospective. And this time, I'll be looking at Donkey Kong Jr. And no, it's not a kid's version of Donkey Kong with hardly any difficulty. In fact, this game is quite harder than the first game. And I personally think that this slightly lesser known sequel is better than the first game. Donkey Kong was a success in North America upon its release in 1981. Who knew an arcade game about climbing things and jumping over things would be a hit in the arcades? It wasn't your Pac-Man, Pong, or Space Invaders, so it comes as no surprise that it got a sequel to capitalize on the original success. I couldn't find much on the development history of this game other than Shigeru Miyamoto and company returned to develop the sequel, and the game was released to arcades in 1982. What will happen in this installment knowing the titular ape was defeated and Jumpman, now known as Mario, rescued his girlfriend? Would Donkey Kong Jr. take his father's place as the antagonist? Surprisingly, no. Nintendo took this game in a whole new direction, one that will ruin your perception of gaming's most beloved good guy. After his defeat, Mario took it upon himself to imprison Donkey Kong in a cramped cage, and now you play as his son, who's trying to rescue him from the evil Mario's cruelty. Let's go! This is disturbing when you look deep into it, because if you're an overly analytical lunatic like myself, you can read in between the lines and see the horrors that are in the guise of a cute little arcade game. Throughout this game, Mario deploys sentient death traps in hopes of outright murdering a baby gorilla who just wants to rescue his dad. That is messed up. Gaming's most beloved hero was at one point a villain, like a really vile villain. I mean, I understand his motive at locking up Donkey Kong so he never becomes a threat again, but at the same time, that's just wrong. Fear not, as that's not how the game differentiates itself from the predecessor and just claims it to be a new experience. No, the game is also mechanically different. The core objective in terms of level design may be the same, where you have to get to the top in hopes of rescuing DK from the psychotic plumber, but the first level presents a jungle setting filled with vines they can climb on. Grab one to climb normally, but grabbing two different vines would make you climb up much faster, but holding two vines would make climbing down slow, while holding one vine and climbing down would be faster. So much thought was put into this aspect of climbing because you have to strategize on how you climb these vines to finish this level, but some vines are populated by death trap enemies that will kill you if it touches you, which proves to be a persistent obstacle in this level in particular. There are instances of Junior being able to jump over enemies like Mario in the last game, but while Donkey Kong has more of a focus on jumping, Donkey Kong Jr. has more of a focus on climbing, which to me makes it already more fun than the original and is recognized as Donkey Kong Jr.'s main ability. There's also the fruit items scattered throughout this level, which can be dropped and will potentially destroy anything below it. How the fruit isn't turned into juice by the death traps is beyond me, but it provides some strategy as to how you approach these situations. And as a first level in this game, it already left a massive impression on me that this game might be better than Donkey Kong. The second level introduces moving platforms and moving vines as a timed platforming obstacle, with new enemies being the birds that can give you touch damage or drop something on you. I really hope that isn't what I think it is. This level has less climbable vines, or chains in this case, but it doesn't need to since these new obstacles are a good way to up the difficulty naturally, and the surprises don't stop there as the third level is a little out of the jungle setting and in a futuristic setting, whereas it's mostly platforming and a test of your jumping and timing skills given how you have to jump over these electrical hazards that are everywhere. Yes, there is fruit to take out the clockwise moving electrical hazard, but it can still put up quite the challenge thanks to the fast moving blue sparks. And the fourth and final level is all climbing based, and this is where you can free Donkey Kong by climbing on a series of chains to move keys up the locks. But the challenge is avoiding the returning bird and death trap enemies, but it's not unfair at all. In fact, I welcome this challenge because if it's going to be the final level, it might as well throw everything you knew before at you. And with the 6 keys inserted, Donkey Kong is free from his cruel imprisonment, and in a clever callback to the original Donkey Kong, this time Donkey Kong is rescued while Mario falls to unconsciousness due to the platform he stood on collapsing under him. Poor Mario, his era of villainy is now over. I guess he'll have to find a new career, like being a plumber, stuck in the sewers with his twin brother Luigi. Although, does that halo over Mario's head mean he's dead? Regardless, what a bittersweet ending. And looking at this game on its own merits, I'd say this game is decent. Again, it's no longer the best platformer on the market, and I fully acknowledge that Miyamoto and company went all out with this sequel. It's definitely a better game than the predecessor, but still, it can be a little too simple and archaic to be seen as a perfect game in my eyes. I do adore the simple yet cartoonish sprite designs, but the jungle setting with its fruit and inhabitants are more colorful than the standard red girders of the first game, making this game visually more appealing to me. I respect this game more for being the sequel to try something new, rather than make a new game that's simply more of the same, like Midway did with Ms. Pac-Man for example. Making the hero the villain was something I don't believe has been done before in gaming, and it doesn't come as a surprise that this game was successful. Not as successful as Donkey Kong, nor did it need to be. If you want to check this game out for yourself, it got a better porting job than its predecessor for the Donkey Kong Classics card since all the levels are there, with 2 difficulties, Game A being the easiest and Game B being the harder of the 2. Sadly, we don't really hear from DK Jr. as a character anymore, as his last significant role in the video game was Super Mario Kart for the SNES and Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy. Whatever happened to him? At the end of the day, this game, while not having the famous legacy the original had, it has its own respectable legacy that's definitely worth a discussion. It was a sign of how Nintendo just couldn't be stopped now that Donkey Kong got them through the door of the North American gaming market. But before we get to this game's sequel, let's head back to school and learn with Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Yay! Learning's fun. Yeah, I'm not convincing you, am I? Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and remember to stay awesome.